So since we're doing this on iCloud, I figured I would use Keynote as the presentation of choice. Normally we do these through Google Drive, but you will be getting a Google Drive link because it is easier for us to share that, just as a heads up as to which one I prefer. Anyway, before we start with iCloud, just a reminder that if Mary has your email address, you'll get a copy of both the slides and you will also get a copy of this video. I will be editing this video primarily because portions of this I have to use my work account because my personal account, since I don't have an iPhone, it doesn't have all of the features in it. So iCloud, just as a blanket statement, I would not recommend iCloud unless you have an Apple device. If you don't have an Apple device, you get less of what it's able to do. But if you have a Apple device, you already have iCloud, and it's very well integrated with the Apple ecosystem. So iPad, iPhone, and just a general Mac computer. We'll go over pricing real quick. It's similar to the others. Basically, the main difference is you get less free. So with iCloud, you get 5 gigabytes for free. With others, you generally get 8, 10, or 15. But honestly,
That's not that much difference.
yeah, it's not that much difference. And basically, if you're using these for any kind of photos, you're going to want to upgrade from the free tier anyway, just because even 10 gigs will get clogged up pretty quickly if you take, a couple of photos a day. Over time, it will add up to a fairly significant amount. 50 gigabytes is 99 cents a month. 200 gigabytes is $2.99 a month, and 2 terabytes is $9.99 a month. The only thing I'd say there is Apple does a really good job with their family integration. So if you have a household and it's you, your significant other, and like 2 children, it's a really good deal for using all of that data as a family. So you only need to buy it once, essentially. So the 2 terabyte plan, I have a coworker I work with, and he has that, and he, his wife, and 2 kids are all on the plan, and they really like the functionality it adds. We'll go over online versus offline. If you were in the other class, which went over Google Drive, you'll be very familiar with the slides we've shown so far. And basically, online versus offline is what is stored in the cloud, what is stored in your computer, and what is stored in both. Now, normally with a cloud drive, kind of an online cloud solution, it's more clear cut. But something Apple does really well and better than its competitors, I will say, is that it will kind of automatically put stuff in the cloud or on your device. So what that means is if you're taking a bunch of pictures and you're running out of space, Apple will actually kind of take stuff off of your phone that you haven't looked at in a very long time. So it doesn't notify you. So it's not like notifying you all the time, like, hey, you're running out of space. Hey, you're running out of space. Hey, you're running out of space. It will kind of say to itself, okay, this person's running out of space and they haven't looked at these 100 photos in 3 years. Let's just put that in the cloud and not on their device. So we'll kind of go over how you can tell what's in the cloud, which is fairly straightforward. And unfortunately, I won't be showing you what it looks like on an iPhone, but basically an iPhone, you'll just be going to the various apps anyways. And we'll also show you a way to kind of tell how much storage you're taking up overall. And we will be doing this on a Windows desktop. The functionality is similar to that of an Apple product, an Apple computer. The main difference is on a Mac, this will be in the top right-hand corner, and on Windows, it is in the bottom right-hand corner. And then at the end, we will go over some questions. So that was the summation of the slides. And we will jump right into iCloud. So logging into iCloud is fairly similar to others. You would just go to iCloud.com and then it will ask you to log in. What is different is by default, Apple forces you to have more robust security, which is one of the reasons why if you have an Apple product, it's a little bit easier. So on this account, I don't have an Apple product tied to it. And you can kind of see that I have contacts, iCloud Drive, notes, pages, numbers, and Keynote available. Now that is not as much as some of you may be seeing if you have an Apple device. So I'm going to quick show you what it looks like for my work account. So my work account, I have an iPhone, which gives me access to a lot more settings. You can kind of see now I have mail, I have calendar, photos, find iPhone, find friends. So you just get more options and more things you can actually do with iCloud Drive if you are using an Apple product. I will say that if you could use the term killer feature, the feature that I find amazing and my favorite thing that iCloud offers that these other competitors don't is the Find iPhone button. So I'm just going to click on that right now just to kind of get that out of the way. So it'll be the little radar looking icon and it's in the bottom right. So at work, we use this quite often. If someone not loses their phone, but misplaces their phone and is not sure where it is, we can say, hey, you actually left your phone at your house before coming into work today. Or, hey, it's in a truck. Or, hey, it was left in the town hall, So if I just log into iCloud and click on Find iPhone, it will once again prompt for security reasons, and hopefully I remember my password. And it will kind of find where the iPhone is. So I know that my iPhone it shouldn't be moving, but it's right here. And then I can zoom out by clicking the plus and minus buttons in the top left-hand side and kind of see, okay, it is here. And then you can kind of extrapolate or figure it out. So this is really good for if you're a family and, someone in the family loses their phone for some reason, you can say, oh, you left it at X or Y location. I will say that right now you can see it's a green dot. That means my phone is on. If the dot is not green, that means that the phone is off, but it will show you its last known location. So in this hypothetical, if someone were to steal your iPhone, as soon as they turned it off, so you don't actually know where they took it, as soon as they turn it on again, it'll re-ping the server and you'll get the new location of where your phone is. So I personally think that's useful. I've never had actually a reason to use this, but it is one of the things that is different and better about this storage. Yes, Mary?
I was just saying, I can't imagine you losing your phone, Tim. What if this is too deep a dive, I'm sure, but what if somebody turned it on and did a factory reset? Is it still going to ping, do you think?
That's a great question. It's actually really painful to turn this off.
Okay.
So I'm not saying you shouldn't worry about your phone getting stolen in factory reset, but by default, Find My iPhone is on. And if you do a factory reset, your iPhone is still, without turning Find My iPhone off, your phone is still associated with your account. So it'll still show up.
Perfect. Thank you.
Which is great. But just a note, if you ever want to trade in your phone, you need to remember to turn your iPhone. You have to turn Find My iPhone off before you trade in your phone to upgrade.
Okay.
All right. So I get asked all the time, how can I tell what's in iCloud and what's in my phone? The general answer when you're talking with iPhones is everything is in iCloud. If something is not in iCloud, Apple will basically remind you quite often that you don't have enough storage space for things to be in your iCloud. And then it will, kind of prompt you to pay money for the greater service or the greater level of service that more data gives. Now, if I go to account settings, I'll actually go back to my not work one. You can see how much storage you're using. So because I have a free account that has absolutely no Apple devices, I only have 1 gigabyte free. So that's not a lot, but this is generally what people have if they don't have an iPhone and you send them a link to share, and they need to sign up. And if they want to sign up for an iCloud to kind of view it natively in the browser, it'll allow them to view the file, but you only get 1 gigabyte free. As soon as you get a Mac or an iPhone, you bump up to the 5 gigabyte free. Some 2 things I want to point out here is in the bottom left of this screen. I'll actually make this a little bit bigger. In the bottom left, you see advanced, and there are 2 options: restore files and sign out of all browsers. So restore files is good because if you delete something, you can then click on restore files and find a very long list of things you've deleted. So if you accidentally deleted, you were deleting 10 photos and you accidentally deleted one that you wanted to keep, you can go back to restore files and find it. If you click on sign out of all browsers, this is useful just to make sure that you're not signed in somewhere where you shouldn't be. So if you signed into on someone's computer just to kind of share some videos or share documents or photos, and you forgot to sign out, you can go home and hit sign out of all browsers, and then it'll kind of keep your account secure. The other thing I'd like to point out is if you have an iPhone or an Apple computer, these will sync between all of your devices. So if you have iCloud Drive, it will be the same on your phone, on the web, and on the computer. So all those files will sync. So if you take a document and you edit it on your phone, your computer will get the updated document. If you take a photo on your phone, your computer will get the new photo. Unfortunately, that's pretty much all I can do with the kind of free account I set up. So now we're going to go on to how to get iCloud on your computer. Now, if you're like me and you have an iPhone, but you have a Windows computer at home, you'll need to download iCloud for Windows. If you have a Mac computer, it is already installed. So if you're on Windows, you'll need to, this is what I got after a quick Google search of iCloud Windows, and you'll need to hit the Get button, and then iCloud will pop up in the Microsoft Store, and then you can download it from the Microsoft Store. And if I hit launch, it will now prompt me to log in. So I will log in. And hopefully I typed my password right. Okay. So the first time you do this on a new computer or a new phone or a new browser, it will actually kind of send your phone or your computer a message saying, hey, someone new logged into a device using your Apple ID, and it will give you the option to confirm it or deny it. So essentially it's a way of just giving increased security. So you don't need to worry. Like, I'm not worried that you guys just saw my username, because it'd be very difficult for you to get in without me physically clicking on my phone and saying, yep, that sounds good. If you remember in the Google Drive class we did last week, if there are repeat customers, it's very similar. So the first time you start it and the first time you sign in, it will give you these checkboxes, and it will basically ask you, what do you want to sync? and you can select or deselect all of these. So I don't really care about bookmarks. It will also tell you how much storage you have available. So I have 5 gigabytes of iCloud storage, and I have 1.96 gigs available. This will kind of just serve as a reminder to, I should probably buy more. And you can always click on this storage button to buy more. And if I hit apply, it will now sign me into iCloud on my computer, and it will start downloading stuff. So I hit apply, close, and in the bottom right, I know it's difficult to see. Okay, it's kind of difficult to see, but on the bottom right, there is a cloud that is blue, and this is iCloud. So if I click on this, it will tell me kind of what it's currently doing, what it's currently up to. And I see the iCloud photos were updated just now, and iCloud Drive was updated just now. So if I go to iCloud Drive, it will show me what files I have in iCloud Drive. If I go to iCloud Photos, it will show me what photos I have in iCloud Photos. Are there any questions on how kind of we logged into it? And the process will be the same on your Mac, where you just need to make sure that you log into your iCloud on your computer.
I have a question of how you get it on your phone. You were showing those screens before, and I'm on my phone, my iPhone, and I can't find what you were doing.
If you're on your iPhone, it's pretty much impossible not to have it automatically set up.
Well, I set it up before, but I don't see the screen. You know, it looked like the screen I have on my computer, but I don't see that on my phone.
Which screen?
The one where you had the keynote and you had all the things that were in it.
Oh, those are just
icons.
Those are kind of just applications on the iPhone. So the iPhone looks a little bit different.
Were you on your computer or were you on the phone?
I have not been on my phone this entire time.
Okay.
Yep.
So that's what I see on my computer when I'm not looking at you or your presentation. Okay, sorry to interrupt.
No problem. That's what I'm here for.
Okay.
And Mary. That's what Mary's here for as well.
Oh, that's what Tim's here for. Does anybody have any questions? I have a couple myself, but anybody want to ask Tim to explain?
I do. So when you do the iCloud Drive and you clicked off those two options, it automatically just goes into the cloud then, the photos and the other. I mean, if you for instance want to do the documents, then you have to actually come into documents, right?
Yeah. So basically what happened is I went right there. I was going from my phone to my computer. So those checkboxes were asking, what do I want to store on my computer? Since the only other iCloud enabled device I have is my phone, it was taking photos and documents from my phone and putting them on my desktop, which I can now see in my File Explorer under iCloud Photos and iCloud Drive.
If you just are on the computer or not on your phone, do you physically have to take the documents and drag it into iCloud Drive? How do you do that?
Yes. So for me, it would be fairly easy. iCloud Drive, let's do blobs. Open a new window. So on iCloud Drives, I'm going to create a folder. So I'll just right click and hit new. Blobs. I'll open blobs, take these files that are on my computer. They're in Dropbox. I'm just going to copy them instead of cutting them. But one thing you can do is you can just click and drag them over. I'll go here and I'll paste them. Now I can see that it's transferring these files to iCloud Drive. And now I can see the status has the 2 arrows going in a circle. And what that means is that it is currently uploading them. You can see the bar, so that shows the progress of the upload, and the green check mark whenever it's available online. the other thing I can do is I can click on iCloud down here, and it will say what it's doing. So iCloud Photos was updated 4 minutes ago, and iCloud Drive, it is currently uploading 381 items.
So basically you copy and pasted the whole thing, put it into the folder, and then drag the folder in, is that?
Yeah, I just dragged, in this case I copied and pasted, but I can just drag whatever I want into my iCloud Drive.
I have a sort of ancillary question. When you update all these apps, do they go into the cloud? Like, I got a thing to update the Zoom. Does that then get upgraded? I mean, taken into the cloud?
So there's kind of two answers to that. The first answer is yes. The second answer is one of the things iCloud does is it saves what your what's on your phone. So it'll remember kind of what your applications are on your phone. And if you have enough storage space, it'll back up as much as it can. The other thing that this allows it to do is if you lose your phone or if your phone gets broken and you need a new one, if you go into your new phone and you sign in with iCloud Drive, with iCloud, it will then basically make your phone, your new phone, have all the same stuff as your old phone. So
Right,
it'll
but
kind
if-
of automatically back it up.
If you're just doing it on the computer, like the Mac, when you update and upgrade software and all that, does that automatically go to the cloud, or do you have to do something?
It will send stuff to the cloud that is created to be sent to the cloud. Not everything will be sent there. But basically anything in the only for sure thing I can say is anything that's in iCloud or iCloud Photos will be in the cloud as long as it has the cloud icon.
So a slightly follow-up question to that is in chat, Tim. What needs to be done if Apple devices are not synced? I'm finding this in contacts and pictures.
There are a couple of reasons why devices are potentially not syncing. One is you haven't signed in to iCloud on that device. It's rare, but it can happen. This can primarily happen if you need to reset your password and you forget to put in the new password on all of your devices. The other thing is if you run out of storage space, and it won't actually tell you if you've completely run out of storage space. So in this case, I think I can view it here. Open iCloud settings. So right now I have 1.94 gigabytes free. If I have a video file that I want to sync, it just won't sync it because I don't have the amount of storage needed. So if you have a device and it has just more data than your iCloud account can handle, it won't sync it. But generally the reason is it's not signed in with either the same iCloud account or the iCloud account needs to be re-signed in with the new password.
All right. Question about photos. The quality of the photos that you put into Google Photos, is that different from Google Drive? I mean, iPhotos as opposed to Google Drive, Google Photos?
Yeah, so it kind of depends on the settings you have when you're taking the photos. But iCloud Photos will take whatever type of photo you have and bring it right over. So it won't do any additional compression.
Okay. Which
But-
could use up a lot of space very quickly.
Yeah, which would prompt you to get those things that have Apple saying, hey, you need more storage space. So we've uploaded this folder. So if I go over to my iCloud on my work account and I go to iCloud Drive, I will now see that the blobs folder has been created. And now I can view all of my blobs once it loads.
Where do you get the blobs?
I was
Very important question.
I was looking online for like large emojis, and this is apparently what I found was
Okay.
blobs. but yeah, so it syncs it if I delete something from here. So I'll just delete a bunch of stuff. And so, sorry, I'll back up. So if I want to delete a bunch of files, I can click on the file I want deleted. And if I want to delete this entire row of files, I can then hold Shift and click again to select all of them. If I also want to delete a blob derpy happy, I can hold the Control button and click on that to select that as well. So if you want to delete something in iCloud Drive, you will select it, then you will go to the top, and there's a little trash can icon, and you can hit delete, and then those will be deleted. The next thing, and what's deleted up here will eventually be deleted down here. So it will sync back and forth. Another thing is if you want to upload something to your iCloud Drive, but you don't have the desktop application, you can go into iCloud Drive, and then you can hit the up arrow with the cloud, and this will allow me to upload something. This can be a file, a folder, whatever. If you want to create a new folder, again, up at the top, the folder with a plus icon will allow you to do a new folder. And since I created a new folder, given enough time, and by enough time I meant 2 seconds, it will update that here. If I go to open new folder, I can then create another new folder. So you are able to stack folders in folders very easily. And then if I go here to iCloud Drive, I get a new folder. I can go to another new folder. So another thing, I don't have anything in documents. Do I have anything in super secret? No. Okay. There we go. All right, so these things they're going to be synced back and forth. If I want to download something, so if I am on someone else's computer and I really want to download a blob nom cookie, I can go up to the center portion of the screen again and hit the cloud with the arrow pointing downward, and that is download, and then it will download that file. Now, one thing you'll notice is the email icon is grayed out. That is because I do not have mail associated with this iCloud account. For work, I use Outlook, so I've kind of just ignored everything that has to do with the mail, with Apple Mail. If I did have an email account and I wanted to share all of these things, this would be in blue, and I'd be able to click on email, and it would automatically put all of these files into an email for me to send to whoever. The other thing yep.
Sorry, would it put the actual files or link to them?
It'll give you the option.
Okay.
For smaller files, I generally like to just send the file, but if it's a document that you want to collaborate with, you can do either the email method or what I'm just about to show you. So I'm going to go to iCloud Drive. Let's go. Oh, I did that on my other one. Okay, we're just going to do this one. So blob nom cookie. If I want to share this with somebody, I remember last week we spent probably about 10 to 15 minutes on sharing. Apple, it's a little bit simpler because there are less options. So if I want to share a file or a folder, I will hit the person icon with a plus sign. And then it will give me this share file pop-up. So add email addresses or phone numbers. So it'll ask me, so these are just who I want to put in. So anyone.
I was hoping you'd share it with me, Tim.
And then, so you can add as many people as you want. And then share options. Who can access? Only people I invite. So only people I invite are only people in that add option will be able to view the file. Or I can choose anyone with the link, and then anyone who gets the link can view the file. So I'm going to go with only people I invite and permission. So can make changes. It's pretty self-explanatory. If I have this selected, it will share the file, and whoever has access to the file can make changes to the file. If I want them not to be able to make changes and only to view the file, I can select view only. And then I would just hit share. And then I can copy this link and share it to other people if I had chosen the link option. If I send this to somebody else besides Mary right now, they would get the link. If they were to click on it, I would get a notification and it would ask me to approve them having access to the file. So that's sharing. Now, as you can see, or maybe as you can't see, but if you look at a blob nom cookie, it has 11 minutes ago shared by me. So the 11 minutes ago was the last time I changed something about it, and shared by me kind of shows me that it's shared. If you look at the top right, or top middle, I have the person icon with a plus sign. But if I go to a blob nom cookie, I should have chosen one with a different name. It will now have a person icon with a check mark. This tells me that it is already shared. And if I click on it, it will tell me who has access to it. So if I no longer want Mary to have access to this file, I can click on these three dots and remove access or change the type of access I gave her. So I'll remove it, and now the file is no longer shared with anyone.
Oh, wow.
One thing I will say is I generally prefer to do all this in iCloud on a browser. If I go here, you are able to go to iCloud sharing, but it's just a little bit more complicated. So I like sharing in the browser or on your phone. Are there any questions about sharing?
Is there a benefit then to sharing via iCloud or just normally?
Yeah, so if you share via iCloud, one of the nice things that this allows you to do is if you share a document, it allows both of you to work on the document at the same time. So you can kind of, instead of doing that weird thing where if you and 5 people are working on something together and every time you make a change, you reply all and send everybody your updated document, what this allows you to do, and for the record, that's a huge pain. And I'm so happy that solutions exist to not have that be the case anymore. So what you're able to do now is essentially share the document to your 5 friends or the group of 5 people, and everyone can edit it at the same time. So you don't have that weird thing of I've been spending an hour on this document to, make my changes. Then someone else hits reply all, and all of a sudden I'm working on not the newest draft.
So if everybody's making changes, then it just automatically gets sent around again?
Yeah, so if I go to pages and I go to new, so this is how you create a new pages document. And just like Microsoft, Apple does allow you to essentially use their Word alternative, their Excel alternative, and their PowerPoint alternative online. So you don't actually have to download anything. And I'll hit the plus button, which is the generic symbol for create new. Blank.
Is it limited to 5 people?
Nope, 5 was just an arbitrary number. It is functionally limited, but if you meet that limitation, everyone is very impressed. So this is a test. So if I were to share this with Mary,
Okay.
I don't know actually if Mary has an iCloud account, or no, You do, because we
I
have,
do on my phone.
yeah, because we, you have a phone now.
Yes.
But anyway, what would happen is, just like in Google Drive, everyone would have a different color. What's this called? I just know it as the pipe icon, but
Yes.
the blinking cursor thing,
Right. Exactly.
everyone would have a different color one, and then we could all be typing at the same time.
Okay, and they have to all have an iCloud account, right?
Yeah, so for this to work, to edit the document at the same time, everyone would have to have an iCloud account. But as we kind of went over a little bit earlier, you can use your free iCloud account. Actually, so if we go here, add people.
If people don't have an Apple product, though, they can have an iCloud account and they get the free part or not?
Yeah, so you can create, anyone, I did it, anyone can create a free iCloud account.
Okay.
Tim, why would you want to generate documents in iCloud as opposed to using your computer? Is it for the sharing idea?
It's for the sharing idea. It's also kind of guaranteed to be saved all the time. So what I mean by that is, as soon as I stop typing, it's immediately saved. On your computer, you kind of generally, you may have it set up to auto backup every 10 to 15 minutes. Whether or not that happens, who knows? But you can have like a document that your Word crashes, or your computer crashes and you lose that document. If you're working online, that doesn't happen. The main reason why I use the online versions, so I have full access to Word, but I use the online version of Word just because I feel it's cleaner and more responsive. So I don't know if you noticed, but I shared it to my free account, and I can see that this is where other me is typing. I can see that one other person is in the document right now if I go up to the top right and look at the person icon. So if I type here, and if I learn how to type again,
You type pretty fast.
only when I don't mess up, and I go back here, I can see that it got updated. And as I'm typing, if you notice next to blank, right up here at the top center, it'll say saving. As soon as I'm done typing, done. It's saved. I can't lose this. Now, if I go back to my other account, I can tell based on the arrow where the person is. So the other person who's editing is at this yellow arrow, and they just type this.
So you could be editing each other's work at the same time?
Same time. It's a brave new world.
All I can say is I'm glad I retired. I can't imagine having a whole bunch of people working on a document at the same time.
So it can do all of this fun stuff. And I don't know how familiar everyone is with Pages, but you essentially have all of the options that you do on the desktop application over on the right-hand side here.
So is this keeping this as a Pages document?
Yep, this is keeping it as a Pages document.
'Cause
However,
sometimes I have found if you people share a Pages document, uses Pages and starts sharing across a large enough group, some people it doesn't come across the same if you're not using an Apple, for example.
yeah. And that's one of the reasons why the online version is amazing, because even if they don't have a Macintosh computer, if they're using the browser version, it should not be any different than what you're seeing.
Also on Pages, you have the option of having a password. So if you have 5 people on, I guess I was wondering how you would actually do that.
I mean,
Sometimes
if you
there's-
share the document with them, that's kind of the password.
Oh, okay.
Okay, can we go back to that 5 people thing? Because I'm on a board with 8 people, and they keep doing, reply all, and so I have, 8 versions of the same thing. So if we did it with sharing, we could do 8 people?
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
I've done, I mean, this isn't the limitation. I don't want to give anyone the wrong idea, but I have done this in Google Drive. I've done it with 57 people, I think. With iCloud, I've done it with 12.
Okay, okay.
And honestly, no issues. With Microsoft, I do it daily where about 147 people have access. It doesn't
Okay.
mean everyone's in the document at the same time, but everyone can edit the document at the same time.
But
So-
they don't have to know how to do it and agree to do it.
Yeah, they have to. I have to share the document with them first, and then they
Yeah.
have to click on the link and use the document essentially.
Right. And feel comfortable doing that.
Exactly.
Okay.
The challenge I find is that it's a great idea if you can get everybody to agree that this is how you're gonna do it.
If you
That's
get
not always so easy.
If you get to the end and you have a document you all agree on is good, and you want to send it out into the world, you're not going to send it out into the world necessarily on Pages. So this, just like working in Pages, you could save it as a Word document or save it as
Yes.
something else.
Yep.
Okay.
You would just go to the the wrench icon, and hit download a copy, and it'll give you some options.
Oh,
So
I
the
see.
first option is Pages. The second one is PDF, which will work for everyone alive. They can't edit it, but
Good.
it works for everyone. And then Word, it will save it as a Word document. Now, if you save a Pages document as a Word document, or you open a Word document in Pages, sorry to get a little bit off topic here, but there may be some minor formatting changes that happen. The worst changes I've seen are when you have included images in the Pages document or in the Word document. But apart from that, it's honestly very, very similar.
Sometimes there's fonts that aren't available. in
Yeah.
one-
No, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, okay.
But yes, you can download as a Word document to share it off to everyone else.
Okay.
Does anybody else have questions for Tim?
I have a question.
Sure.
This is Skip. I work primarily on a Macintosh, a laptop, and but I do use the Google browser a lot and do some have some spreadsheet documents as Google documents. And is there any could I save a Google Drive spreadsheet into a iCloud on the iCloud Drive, or does that not make any sense?
So the answer to that is kind of, sort of, maybe. You can save I believe they just call it spreadsheet.
Yeah.
You could save a Google spreadsheet in iCloud Drive. And then you would be able to open that with Numbers, which is Apple's version. But as soon as you open it with Numbers, it would then convert it to a Numbers document in order for you to edit it.
Okay. Would it still exist on the Google Drive?
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
So I could. All right.
I mean, the general best practice is to keep it in one file format, but you can save it in the competitor's backup solution
But then it's a different document altogether. Okay.
if you want to edit it. if you just want to save it, it'll stay, Google spreadsheet for life. But if you want to edit it and you open it in Numbers, Apple will convert it into a Numbers document for you to edit it. For 90% of what Excel, Numbers, and Spreadsheet does, they will transfer fine, but I wouldn't do it for any like high value, spreadsheet document that has a very complicated formula, because the formulas can be a little bit different between Apple, Google, and Microsoft.
I have another question on, we're primarily in this Apple environment with a iPhone and a desktop Mac, and my wife has a iPad, but it's, I don't know, several years old, and I'm not sure that she can even upgrade to or install the latest operating system.
Okay.
Is that a problem in terms of, she claims she's having problems with contacts disappearing and so on. Is it important to have this most recent operating system on all your devices?
It's important to have parity. So yeah, it's the best practice would be to have everything on the same version. I'm not sure about the contacts issue, but as long as the application, so as long as Numbers can be updated to the most recent version on her iPad, or Pages, she should be able to open and edit documents freely. One thing I generally find with, if someone is having contact issues, one of the things I like to do is just go to iCloud.com on a computer, click on contacts. Let's go to me real quick, and make sure that all of the contacts are up here in the cloud. So if something isn't in iCloud.com, that means it's not syncing. So you just want to make sure that everything, and if it isn't here, then you need to look into the syncing options for contacts.
Okay.
The other thing, not to go on a tangent, the other thing I like about viewing contacts in iCloud is, if you're familiar with doing this on an iPhone, you kind of have to scroll and then use the tiny keyboard. I can do the same thing here, except I can see everything and I can use my full-size keyboard. So I just personally find it easier to change all this information in iCloud. And if I change it using iCloud.com, I know it's in the cloud. So I know it isn't, going to leave me. It's not going to disappear on me one day because it's in the cloud.
Good.
Question, what happens when all those big servers that are the so-called cloud crash?
So if all of the big servers crash, losing documents personally would be the least of my worries.
Yeah, really.
Because Apple, now my information is definitely out of date, but let's say, for example, Apple has 3 servers in the US. If all of those servers in the US go down, that probably means the internet in the entire US is down. But however, if the 3 servers where Apple's data is stored in the US die and nothing else is impacted, Apple still has servers in Australia, it has servers in Japan, it has servers in the EU. So you will have access. It'll just be a little bit slower, but they have servers upon servers upon servers.
Okay, so if my stuff is up in the cloud, it's in the cloud on all these servers?
Yep.
Okay. That makes me feel better.
Another thing I'll go over is Find Friends. You may have seen this icon and kind of wondered what this is about. So just like Find iPhone, if you're in a family, Find Friends is pretty cool. Of course, it's probably caused a lot of divorces, but I still think it's interesting. So if you go to Find Friends and you have, let's allow location access. If you go to Find Friends and you have contacts that have Find Friends turned on for you, so this would be like a family member, you can then see where they are, which is kind of interesting. So one of the reasons why this is kind of cool is you can tell if someone is going to be, I mean, I'm really trying not to make this creepy, but yeah, I'm trying. But for example, if my wife and I both had iPhones and we had Find Friends turned on, and I work in Peterborough and I live in Nashua, and she saw that I was, between Peterborough and Wilton, that would mean that I'm driving home. So then she would kind of know, okay, well, Tim's going to be home in 40 minutes or something like that. So it's kind of interesting to kind of know where people are. It's also nice because you can be like, oh, I know Tim's at the store. I'm going to text him to see if he can get this other item. Or you can, if you have this turned on with a whole bunch of your friends, if it turns out that both of you are in the same city for some reason and you're normally like 5 hours away, you can then kind of get together and without actually needing to communicate where each of you are, you can kind of see where you are.
And I've known parents who've insisted their children leave Find Friends on so that they, when they're traveling, so they know where they are.
And that's another useful.
Yes, there's a question sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry, does it work in as close an environment as, say, you were at the mall? Would it say so-and-so's over at XYZ store while you're at ABC store? Or is it much bigger territory than that?
It's a fun anecdote. Whenever this first came out, the GPS on the phone was originally created by the military, so it was accurate to like 12 feet. You can see it's having some issue finding where I am currently. But if I go to Find iPhone, so essentially all this is doing is allowing other people access to Find iPhone. Let's see, sign in, and we can see how accurate this is. So apparently not very accurate. So I wouldn't trust this to, tell me, okay, my friend is at Auntie Annie's in the mall, but I would trust it to tell me, okay, they are in the same mall as I am, or like one of the big box stores. It's like, okay, well, everyone's in Macy's, but it's not gonna give you directions like maps will, where it says, okay, walk, 20 feet forward and then 10 feet to the right, and there's your friend. So it is fairly approximate. But given what I know about this building, this is fairly accurate. It's probably about 10 feet off.
So Tim, there's a question in chat. I can't get an old email address to stop appearing, but I can't find it written under my contact list to delete. So it sounds like an autofill problem.
Yeah. So I'd probably have to look at it. But the first thing I would do is I would go to iCloud.com and go to contacts and just make sure that it's not in the cloud. Because if you've deleted it from your phone, but not from the cloud, it will keep reappearing.
Oh, okay.
Which is one of the reasons why I don't know how many of you have come to me with issues about your phone not syncing. But almost every single time, the first thing I do, or the second thing I do, is try to get you to iCloud.com to see what the cloud actually has saved. Because that is key. Whatever is in the cloud is the most important thing to look at. Because if it's not in the cloud, then it means it's an issue with your device. But if it's in the cloud, then it still means it's an issue with your device. We just know what we have to look at to try and find where the correct information is.
Thank you.
But if you have syncing on with your phone, it should, if you do to make a change in your phone, it should sync to the cloud, right? If everything's working right.
100%. But in this example, if you have syncing turned on and it's not in the cloud, but it's on your phone, then you know that there's something that you need to kind of knock loose with your phone to make it sync again.
Okay.
Can you download directly to the cloud?
Yeah, you can put stuff directly in the cloud without using your phone or anything like that. And you can just kind of, so if I wanted to create a new contact, I could just go to, for example, and just hit the plus button and go to new contact, new, and then this would eventually find its way to my phone if I have syncing set up correctly. So, I mean, you can create pretty much anything in the cloud, and if it's synced, it will go to your phone. One thing I'd like to additionally go over, because I know photos are kind of a big part of everyone's lives. If I go to Photos, now keep in mind this is a work account, so the photos are not very interesting. For example, here's a broiler room. You can kind of see all of your photos. So one of the things I like about this is Peterborough, New Hampshire on Friday. I took these photos. If I have photos on my phone that are not here, I know there's a syncing issue. It allows me just to kind of make sure everything is up to date. And it also allows me to see some of these things in a much bigger format than on my iPhone. So for example, this is a Chrome base at the library. Apple Photos does not have the same slick search that Google Photos has, however. This is what you see is what you get. This is essentially what you get with Apple Photos. Is you can go forward and backward and not too much else. But you can share. So if I'm here, I can share. So it's the I'm not sure why they changed the icon, but it's a box with an arrow pointed up. I can share. I can either do that email or get a direct link and email them myself. And you can share stuff that way. Plus, if you are in the Apple ecosystem, you can create cool little Animojis. I think that's what they're called, or emote, whatever they are,
Yes.
Instead of using your real face.
Does anybody else have any questions for Tim? I have one quick question, which hopefully is quick. So if you buy the terabyte for $99 a year or $100 a year, and your whole family is using it, is there any privacy?
Yes, if the person who owns the account decides there should be privacy.
Okay. So, and I'm sure that's almost a whole nother class trying to set that up.
Yeah. I've had a lot of parents kind of think it was a good idea for them to view their children's messages. I'm not going to say where I stand on that one way or the other, but oftentimes parents who have that will then ask me how to disable that.
Yes. A little information can go a long way.
And just to show you, that document we were working on, the blank pages document, has shown up here. Everything has kind of gone from my computer to the cloud, from the cloud to my computer. Yeah.
Great. Well, thank you very much, Tim. This is wonderful. If anyone has any questions, feel free to email them to me and I will get them to Tim, and we will get you the plethora of slides as well as the recording. So.
And as always, if you have any questions that you remember, in 10 minutes, which is my favorite time to remember questions, feel free to email Mary. And if they are a question that's interesting, I will put them in the slides so everyone can see the answer, unless you don't want me to do that, in which case I won't do that. But kind of the more questions people ask, the more everyone can have their memory jogged as to, oh, I actually had that question as well. So feel free to ask questions. And as always, Wednesdays starting at noon, you can come in or not come in, you can remotely connect with us, and we can go over any specific issues you may have on this or anything else.
And if you need the Zoom link to that, you can just find it on our webpage under events. It's a standard Zoom link and it doesn't change from week to week. So you just go to our website, go to events, and you'll see Tech Drop-In and just click on that link. So thank you very much, Tim. It was great program. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you
Thank
both for
you.
doing it.
Thank you.
Thank you.